Vera says, thanks for all the tips so far. It's a real pleasure, Vera. And listen, I mean, Vera, when you go into the courses that I make available to you now, you'll get the full set of material and lessons that you can go through and always have access to once you've enrolled in the courses. All I ask is that you do just write a review and leave a rating on the course so that it can reach a wider audience. But let's look at your point here. I struggle with knowing how much detail to include, especially for methods and so on. I either include too much or little. 100%, Vera. Now, that's not quite a writing problem. It's a it's more regarding the overall structure and content and nature of the problem that you're trying to solve with your research. And Vera, what I teach in another of my courses about how to pass your thesis is that we don't make enough use of appendices. And appendices are a very powerful mechanism for putting more detail in that would otherwise obscure the flow of your writing. So it does become a writing problem if you put detail in that isn't natural on the story that you're telling. And as we said just now, relaying a scientific method and reconstructing it for somebody else to do is maybe, look, it's going to be boring unless that person is in that field and excited and passionate about that topic and want to read your report because of that. But if we talk about just from a faculty independent perspective, when it comes to things like methods and literature review, experiment with putting more detail into your appendices. And whatever it is that you're writing, any project or thesis or assignment, there is a mechanism of appendices. And then in your writing, you just, whatever your referencing format is, you refer to that appendix. Now, very interestingly, when I got my final report back from my overseas external examiner, they remarked on my use of appendices, and they indicated that I put some detail in there that I could actually bring back into the main body of the report. So Vera, you probably want to always err on the side of putting detail into appendices. And then once you've got something and you step back at it and you read it objectively, you then look at maybe bringing some of the detail of the appendices back into the flow of the writing. Because we tend to want to impress the reader by how much we've done and all the work that we've completed and all the detail that we're able to include in what we're submitting, but actually sometimes it obstructs the writing. So hopefully that helps there. And it is a balance ultimately as to how much or how too much or too little that you include in the main flow of your writing. And appendices, I think, is a very powerful way of dealing with it.